Have you ever felt like you're stuck in an echo chamber? Well, today we're going to look at a philosopher from over 1,000 years ago who basically gave us a blueprint for breaking free. His name was Al-Farabi, and you're about to see just how relevant his ideas are right now.
Okay, just a quick heads up before we dive in. This explainer comes from translations of discussions with Iranian philosophers. We've done our absolute best to capture the heart of their ideas, but you know how it is with translation. Some of the finer details might get a little lost. We just appreciate you understanding that.
So let's start with a really big question, one I think we all kind of wrestle with these days. You've got information flying at you from every direction, you've got algorithms curating your reality. In the middle of all that noise, how do you find the space to form your own, actual, genuine thoughts? It feels like a totally modern problem, doesn't it? But get this. What if I told you that a philosopher hanging out in 10th century Baghdad not only saw this exact problem coming, but actually laid out a plan to deal with it? Yep, his name was Al-Farabi. So let's get into section 1, Farabi's unlikely prescription. To really get what he was talking about, you have to picture his world. We're talking 10th century Baghdad, which was this incredible, buzzing hub of intellect and discovery. And it was right there, in that golden age, that Farabi put his finger on a core problem with how we believe things. A problem that, you guessed it, we are still dealing with today. And that brings us right into section 2, which is all about the core conflict he identified, imitation versus investigation. He basically saw that every single one of us is at a crossroads, facing a fundamental choice about how we engage with ideas. And let me tell you, that choice is more critical now than it has ever been. First, he gave the problem a name, Taqlid. This is just blind imitation. It's when we swallow an idea whole simply because it's popular, or because it's what we've always been told, or maybe just because it's comfortable. You know, like when you're scrolling and you just accept a headline without even clicking the article, or when you adopt an opinion because everyone in your social circle has it. That right there is Taqlid in action. So what's the antidote? He called it Tahqiq, and it is the complete opposite of imitation. It's active investigation. It's the conscious and, sometimes really difficult work of examining things for yourself. It's about asking the hard questions and really doing the thinking so you can arrive at a truth that you can honestly say is your own. And looking at them side by side, you can really see the two paths. On one side, you have Taqlid, just passively accepting things, following the crowd, staying inside Plato's cave, comfortable with the shadows. But on the other side, you have Tahqiq, which is about stepping out into the light, demanding evidence, and actively trying to understand things for yourself. For Farabi, this wasn't just a fun little thought experiment, it was the most important choice we make in our lives. But Farabi went even deeper. He said that real investigation, real tahqiq, isn't just about cold, hard logic. And that brings us to section 3. It has to be anchored in something much, much older. This is where we move from just the how of thinking to the real why. His whole philosophy really hinges on this incredible idea. The most authentic thought is based on the most distant remembrance. Now, what does that even mean? It doesn't mean just coming up with new stuff out of thin air. It means reconnecting with fundamental truths that on some deep level we already know. He called this process Tadhakkur, which we translate as remembrance. But listen, he wasn't talking about remembering where you left your keys. He meant remembering foundational truths, these unshakable first principles about reality, about logic, about justice. The original texts call it the language of existence. How cool is that? And for Farabi, this is the absolute starting point for any real thinking. Only after you've grounded yourself in that remembrance can you really start what he called Tafakkur, or thinking. For Farabi, thinking is the process of organizing your world. But if that thinking isn't planted in the rich soil of Tadhakkur, it's just floating. It's rootless, and it can be easily blown over by the next popular idea that comes along. So there it is, a clear two-step process for authentic thought. It's beautiful in its simplicity, really. Step 1, Tadhakkur. You connect back to the origin, to first principles. And then, step 2, from that solid foundation, you build your understanding through tafakkur, through structured and reasoned thinking. You really can't have one without the other. So, this brings us to section 4. Because for Farabi, this whole process wasn't just some private, internal journey. No way. He was completely convinced that this kind of deep, authentic thinking had a very real, very practical purpose out in the world. And here is the crucial connection he makes. A well-ordered mind leads to a well-ordered society. For him, the whole point of philosophy is to create order. It has to start inside, by organizing your own thoughts through Tadhakkur and Tafakkur. But that's just the beginning. He believed that a whole community of people who think clearly and aren't just blindly imitating each other will naturally build a more just, more stable, and better society.
This really was his grand vision. See, philosophy isn't some academic hobby. It's the actual blueprint for a better world. He famously took Plato's idea of a philosopher king and ran with it, arguing that the only people who are truly fit to lead are those who have gone on this intense inner journey of investigation and remembrance. For him, wisdom wasn't just a nice-to-have for a good ruler. It was the entire job description.
And that leads us to our final part, Section 5. Farabi's incredible talent for weaving together Greek philosophy with Islamic theology and for connecting our inner intellectual life with our public civic life, well, it earned him a truly remarkable spot in history. He was given a title, the second teacher. I mean, that's a pretty prestigious title, right? It immediately makes you wonder, who was the first? The first teacher was Aristotle. Yeah, that Aristotle. We are talking about that league. This wasn't just a nice compliment, it was a profound acknowledgement that he had mastered everything that came before him and built a new foundation for everyone who came after.
But here's the real takeaway, the thing that truly matters. His greatest legacy isn't all the specific facts he knew. It's his method. He earned that incredible title because he gave us a user's manual for intellectual freedom, that relentless, courageous focus on Tahqiq over Taqlid, on active personal investigation over just blind imitation.
And so, this 1,100-year-old challenge from a philosopher in Baghdad comes all the way around to us, right here, right now. He's forcing us to ask a really tough, really personal question. What shadows am I just passively watching on the wall of my own cave? What unexamined ideas, convenient opinions, or viral headlines am I accepting without a single question?